Hello, language facilitators. Welcome back to the channel. I hope everything's working good today. I see that the video is a little bit glitchy as people are joining me live. If it turns out that this is a problem, maybe I'll try to come back, but I'm going to go with it and we'll see how it goes. Welcome, everybody. My name is Marcy Melzer, and I'm an intuitive speech language pathologist and language facilitation coach and consultant with wavesofcommunication.com. And let me show you this. And yeah, I'm here today to talk to you about this topic here. We're going to be talking about how spoken language starts with parents. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is I've got some slides to show you why parents are in the best position to be influencers for late talkers or all children to develop the start of their spoken language, why you have the most influence, and we're going to be talking about how to use that influence, how parents naturally use this, how they've been doing it forever and ever, as long as parents have been connecting with kids. And the reason I decided to go ahead and lay this out for you today is because I think that what happens when parents have kids who are late talking is they tend to get off of this natural journey, natural path that is necessary for a child to evolve in their communication from the nonverbal stuff that they came in incarnated with as they develop and move through life, and turn all of that into ever evolving spoken language, because spoken language learning never ends. We're always continually learning how to express ourselves better. Even once we learn how to talk, we are always learning how to use language better as we connect with new people, learn new information, change our mindset about things as we encounter new people and learn new information. And this is the life of every child. As they grow up, encounter new people, and learn new things, they want to share those experiences and knowledge and whatever they develop out of it. And that's where spoken language comes from. That's what makes us uniquely human. So today on this video, like I said, I've got some slides to help you. We're going to work through this process so you understand how the natural language learning process works, and maybe you can see in this process where you might have gotten off of your journey and how you can get back on it using language facilitation. So let's dig in and get started here. Remember, we're talking about spoken language starts with parents, okay? So the way it starts is here. Even before the baby is born, they start communicating with you. The parents understand. They instinctively start making new decisions about what they offer to their child. It starts with, does the baby need a better diet? Does the baby need, a lot of people listen to music and involve their unborn baby in the process of development and connection even before they're born. So this is obviously an opportunity that is uniquely available to mommies who have babies in their belly. And because you can't wait to connect with them in the real world, when, I can't wait to love you when you come out and learn about you, you're thinking about all of those things while the baby's in there. And how you behave while the baby's still in there really is the foundation. Because remember, when the baby's healthy, when they're feeling stimulated, because you realize that different things you do to your body cause a reaction inside of your belly. You're feeling the baby move and do things with their body in response to what you do with your body. It's still connected communication, and it's super valuable for the baby as their brain is literally starting to grow inside of you. They are realizing that even at a visceral level, a physical level, you are already connected and communicating. And when you start to tune in to that communication that the baby's giving you inside your belly, and you're like, the baby wants this, and then you give the baby this, you feel different. You feel the results of that connection and response to the communication that you are intuitively feeling with your body, because obviously the baby's not even born yet. How are they communicating? They don't even have a brain fully developed yet. How are they communicating? Viscerally with their body. And remember, they're bringing that visceral communication out into the world as soon as they're born. And that's what happens next, right? So in this slide, we talk about how immediately after they're born, babies begin communicating more specific messages to tell you what they need. They suck on their thumb, telling you they need soothing. They cry in different ways to let you know what they want, different things. And what parents and primary caregivers do instinctively, because remember, you're already used to feeling that communication with your body, and instinctively you change. You start to sway as you hold the baby. You kiss them, you soothe them. You see that they need soothing because they stick their finger in their mouth, and you automatically join in with those communication messages. You perceive them from the nonverbal behaviors. So you're using all your senses. You're watching and listening and feeling. Remember, you were doing that before the baby was born and right after the baby was born. Now you're stuck with what you see in the real world, that particular diaper or that particular cry and all that stuff. You start to use that information and continually evolve your response, because at first you're like, well, I don't know, you're guessing what the baby wants, and then you're feeding yourself. Now they're really showing you. It's coming out. There is no doubt when they're doing that blood-curdling scream that they need you to respond in a certain way, or when they coo and they do that thing they do to get your attention. You can't help but want to respond to them because you're already in the habit of doing it before you were even born, okay? And remember, all behavior is communication, and it starts somewhere, right? And really where it starts is from this connection from you, because what happens is first they come out starting to project even inside you. They start to project how they feel. And now as you start to respond to those projections, those nonverbal, energetic communications that you're getting from the child, and you start responding to them, now learning starts to happen, and the child starts to see, oh, when I intend to do a certain thing, I get a different response, and that's how this looks. That's what happens next, right? So what happens is children naturally begin to develop neural processes for associating the visual images and physical experiences they have with their life with spoken language vocabulary. As you watch them eating their spaghetti or their noodles, you talk about those things and that they're wiggly and that they're feeling it and all the things that they are doing, because it's so cute. Look at this little girl, right? You can't help but share this beautiful experience. If you're connected with this child and you're sitting at the table eating with her, let's just watch her. Intuitively connected, parents, because you've already got this intuitive training. These kids trained you to intuitively connect with them, even starting before they were born. And now, if you maintain that connection, you're naturally going to describe them. Ooh, you like that. That's really yummy. And it's wiggly, wiggly, wiggly. And it's easier for you with your hands than the whatever. All the things that you perceive when you watch this. And what happens is the child automatically starts learning. They might not be using it yet because this little girl's not talking. She's too busy focusing on her noodles, but she's listening to you while she is focusing on her noodles, her moms and dads who are talking to her about this experience. And they learn the new vocabulary, noodle and wiggly and slurp and all the things that you're talking about that this little girl is doing. And they're going to use them the next time they remember, because the next time you get noodles, you're going to obviously offer this child noodles again because you know that she loves them and she's good at eating them and she's gobbling them up. So you're going to get good nutrition in her if you offer noodles, right? She's already understood that it's her job to eat, and because that's what she learned in the previous slide. She learned that in order to get what I want, I can communicate to my parents and they're going to bring it to me and they're going to show me how to do things. And as they start to do things, you start to communicate to them about their experience while they're doing things. You really like this, because remember, everything you present to them is a guess. You don't know if they're going to like it or not. They're their own human. They're their own person. And now that you're connected with them and they are digging into the things that they love and they're avoiding the things they don't, now you're starting to learn. And as you connect and you talk with them, they learn from you. This is how they learn language. Now, I just want to remind you, up until now, we've talked about these connection points. If you're not seeing the kinds of response that you see in these videos from these kids, that means maybe that you're not as connected as you think you were. Let's talk more about how this connected parenting natural facilitation process works, okay? So as we start to really talk to the child about their experience as we join with them, then what happens, as they're exposed to this in a lot of different ways, they at home and in the environment, they're going to see all these different experiences. They're going to learn to adapt the gestures and new vocabulary that they observed, whatever they picked up while they were doing their thing and listening to you. They picked up things that you were saying, and then you'll instinctively respond to those attempts by teaching them that their efforts are working. Oh, you want this. I mean, think about what this little guy is communicating. Literally just, I want you to come here. I want you to help me. I don't feel comfortable. Look at his face. I didn't have words to say, come here and help me. But he's clearly communicating that message. And even if somebody doesn't respond, he gets into it with his hand even and flicks his hand to tell you that he really does intend to have you understand him. And when you respond, when this parent and caregiver respond to him by not just coming, but talking with him while they come. Oh, you want me to come and help you. You don't feel as excited or confident about climbing up here on your own. You want me to stay by and watch you. You want me to help you. You are telling me these messages. And when you say the messages out loud, that those nonverbal things are communicating to you, that reminds the late talker that, wow, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep letting people know what I want. And then when I give them my best, which they're going to do, their gesture, their facial expression, their whatever they give you, whatever they observed you talking about while they were previously doing this experience in the past, they're going to try to use those things. If they haven't heard anything from you, they'll keep doing the same things they used to keep doing. That hand grab, reach out will never change if you just respond to it without spoken language. So that could be a part where a lot of you have failed to connect in your child's attempt to connect and learn from you. You've been just doing for them instead of doing with them, or explaining the process while you're doing for them or with them. Because remember that last slide, nobody was doing anything for that child. She was doing it on her own, and people were talking to her about her experience. In this case, the same thing's happening. This child's intentionally communicating on his own, giving you gestures, giving you things. Your late talker is doing this 24/7, 24/7, because they don't have language. If they had language, they'd be using it. They're late. They're late talking. And they may stick in this, I'll do it, you respond. I'll do it, you respond, because they are watching how you respond. Are you just going to do it for them? And if you continually just do it for them, they'll just keep prompting you to do it for them and sit back while you do it. They're never going to be motivated to pick it up and do it for themselves. That's why your language models are so important, that you are parallel these experiences. As your child tells you they need you, you understand why they need you and what do they need you to teach them so that the next time they don't need you. Or maybe after a few times, obviously, ultimately, they don't need you when they're 10 years old. Just think about it that way with these goals. Someday he's going to be able to do this if I keep facilitating it every day. But he needs as much time as he needs. She needs as much time as she needs. They do. They're late for a reason. And this process has been blocked in these late talking kids. So now you need to figure out, where can you get back into the flow of this, right? Okay, let's keep going, because I have a few more that are getting you up to spoken language excellence, which is where we're all headed, okay? So we already talked about really talking about the child's experience and what they're doing. You sort of follow them around. A lot of language facilitators get stuck in that loop of continually following the child around, but you really have more of a job than this, because remember, they don't know what they don't know. They don't know how to solve these problems. They don't know how to get into things. And what happens is the problems start coming up in their life, and then you have them to use as your language facilitation opportunities. Let's talk about that. Okay, so what happens is these kids start testing. They start to test the boundaries using their nonverbal communication, and they trigger parents to give them more advanced models. It's not just, let's pour the water out of this thing. It's like, why are we doing it? When are we doing it? Where are we doing it? Is it appropriate to just throw that bucket, right? This mom says no. She has created a schedule, rules, and guidelines around her activities. And when she's connected and they're watching him and working with him, then she can guide him. It's not just about him doing his own thing all the way. Otherwise, he's not in a learning mode. But connected parents can observe the mistakes that kids made, because they're trial and error. They're creating these boundaries because they're doing natural trial and error learning. Okay? And then you have the opportunity to do this. Uh-oh, here comes my camera. All right, let's go and move into the next one, since my camera's acting up right now, and we're going to move into the next area. So we talked about how late talkers will feel that experience of testing the boundaries, and then what you're going to do is, when the boundaries are tested and they push the limits beyond the limits, right? They have tested you. They're going to experience disappointment, because they can't have all the freedom they can't have everything to dream about, and they want it now on their schedule. It's not how it works, right? What we learn is that we have to be appreciative for what we have and to move forward that way, okay? So, all right, so it says, somebody's saying, what about nonverbal toddlers? How do we help at that point? That's when we get into language facilitation, right? This is the actual process of typical language learning that language facilitation will get you in, right? So what happens is what we see here. As children become exposed to the environment, they experience disappointment, sadness, fear, and frustration when they're triggered, right? All of these things are happening to late talking kids. They just haven't moved through these phases yet, because they're not getting the connected language facilitation experiences they need. If your child is not taught yet, you have to find out where you have to get back on this track. And at this point, it's when children are becoming exposed to the environment, that's it. They're going to show you their feelings. They're going to show you how it is. And then what you are going to do here, right, is you're going to connect with them and acknowledge the emotional messages behind these big communication behaviors that they're having. And you're going to be able to help them explain what's causing these original root feelings that you have. My camera's still not popping. I'm going to move over into the next level, and that's this one. So now here, look at this. While connection is maintained, okay, so if this child is not good at using spoken language, he didn't use his words to get what he wanted, and he ended up in a disappointed frame of mind. And this language facilitator dad is naturally offering language models and explanation to dig into how this child ended up in the situation that he's in right now. And because he used the wrong words, he used the wrong behavior, he got a bad response from his attempt, his trials in communication. This is true for every late talker, right? And when the connection is maintained, the parent has the opportunity to understand even these very, very complex issues. that are going on with the lay talker so that you can see what's happening to, beyond it. What caused the trigger? What caused them to freak out? Okay. And then what happens next is this. So, connected intuitive language facilitation activities naturally motivate. Naturally motivates. So, what you do is this mom is, look at here, she's showing him, this is how we play with these things. Isn't this fun? Watch me do it. And the little guy takes his baby one and he does it and he expands on it. And she's playing there along with him. She's not interrupting his play. She's connecting with him and modeling and demonstrating and showing him how the good play works. When they feel understood and they become empowered and share their ideas and try hard and work with you. They naturally work hard to systematically replace this behavioral communication with functional, independent spoken language. That's what happens, okay? So, I'm not sure why my camera isn't going here. Yeah, holy cow. Let's just see if I can pop it in. There we go. And remind you, like I said, we've got you as the parent have the opportunity right now to engage in this natural process to facilitate language with your child. It's not, I think the biggest problem that happens is when parents are alerted to the fact that their kids are late in this process, right? Because remember, this is the same process that every speaker goes through. They start by non-verbally communicating with their family, with their mom, with the people who care for them. And it is those people's response to that child's communication that guides them as they move forward. That's it. It really is responding to the spoken language with models that empower it, right? The problem with late talkers is the communication behaviors that they choose to use are not appreciated by people around them. That's when the problem starts, because as soon as you lack appreciation and value for a late talker's intentional communication, all those grabs, all those pushes, all those cries, all those everything, when they get to be at least 18 months old, right? That's when it starts. They mean it when they do a thing, just like you mean it when you tell them you want them to do something. So the key here is connection and response to any child's, any communication is how you will guide them moving forward. If you try to stop it, change it, modify it, expand it, prompt it to happen faster, then this process allows for the child to intuitively connect and respond, then you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail because this natural response is how a child's neural processing, their brain, needs to develop. It's not artificial ways to get kids to do and say things will result in artificial behaviors and or speech. Okay, it won't be natural. This process that I described here, intuitively connecting, and it's not just about what the child needs. Connecting with them as they learn, as they feel, as they experience, as they feel and try and fail and fail and try and fail and try and fail and try. Because that's how they're going to do. And when they fail and they're frustrated and they can't communicate what they want because they don't have language, that's your golden opportunity at the language facilitator to step in and help them learn what they need. Okay? So, golly, I have, my camera all got goofy on me. Let me just pop this up a little bit closer so that you can see me a little bit better. all the things that we do live, because what I have for you today is a couple of sorry, Q&A questions to share with you. So let's talk first about the comment that came in, and that is, how about nonverbal kids and how do we help at that point? The situation is that point is now. It doesn't matter where your child is in the process. You just get back to the process to help them move forward. Okay. Now let's talk about I am inviting you to join me for Q&A today. If you are interested, I'm just trying to ride through these glitchy things. I am in Florida, and we are recovering in my area from storm damage from a hurricane. And I think as they repair the video and internet connections, it's going to be challenging for me to keep connected live, but I'm going to do my best here. So if you have questions, just go ahead and put them in the comments. And I wanted to talk about a scenario that I got in this week on the Q&A, and that is from Zaria. So she is originally from Buenos Aires. And when they moved to the United States, obviously the change in environment was a big shift for her child, and he is delayed in his speech. I'm not sure how old he is, but I know that he's significantly over 3, because she has been very frustrated. When they moved to the United States, they changed from speaking Spanish to speaking English. And it actually contributed to her child's speech delay and having him be farther behind when they stopped the natural spoken language process. They quit speaking the language the child already understood, and they started speaking a completely new language. And so what happened was, she says, it was hard for me to start speaking Spanish again, because he mostly communicates in English, because remember, it was artificially trained for him to say English words, right? Here's how they did it. Since he was 3, they were just trying to get him adapted to American, to, living in the United States, and just scripting him. So they were just having him memorize English phrases, like the English phrase book, right? And he was really adapting and getting by using those phrases that they taught him, but we didn't know they were pushing him away to the point that he didn't want to do anything, because all they were doing was treating every activity like English language learning, memorization, phrase books, and he didn't like it. So he started to detach. And then she started to speak Spanish again. But also says this also changed to English because the grammar is easier than Spanish. The words are shorter, the grammar's easier, it's slower speaking, but she believes that she's underestimating him when he's more than capable of doing it, which he is, she found out, because since she started speaking with him in her mother tongue, she's noticed that he looks at me and pays more attention. So just by getting out of the artificial process and back to the natural process, that's how this is working. It's working for this family just by getting it more natural. They thought they needed to do artificial things because of this change in their environment, and they didn't. And it caused her to have all kinds of stress, because she actually was further delaying her child's spoken language development by confusing him and keeping it artificial, right? So, of course, she realized, how can we expect natural language from him when speaking English is not natural for her as a mom, right? This whole process that I described here on this video went out the window when she had to be in her own mind trying to figure out how to get him to speak anything. And they figured they might as well teach English because they're moved to America, right? So changing from English to Spanish was the best way to show him that the prompting witch was gone. And, I hate to say that, but, you're the one that owned that personality characteristic of it. And I'm so glad that she's gone. And I'm sure your late talker is too, right? And she says, now I only speak Spanish with him, and I stopped worrying about him not having the tools to communicate, because language should not just be a tool, right? It's not. It's designed to be a system of connection and sharing and communication, right? Sharing our ideas, acknowledging everybody's ideas, and joining together in communication. So, all right, not seeing any more comments come in, and I know that this is a glitchy video, so I hope that it was helpful for you. Thanks for sticking it out through all that, and we'll get it all. Yeah. If you're interested in working with me or learning more, you can visit wavesofcommunication.com and learn about all the information that I have available to you. I'm going to go ahead and stop this one for now, and I'll see you next week for more live Q&A every Thursday. Okay, bye for now, everybody.